You know, it is absolutely your right to know if millions of people coming across the U.S.-Mexico border is good or bad for a country. It's to all of our benefits to understand truly the impacts of illegal immigration. California's governor, he seems to think it's a good thing. His state has probably, I'm thinking, more than 10 million illegal immigrants living in the Golden State, California. Yet he has been so upset that Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis flew 50 illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard last week, that he is now challenging. Gavin Newsom is now challenging Ron DeSantis to a debate. And a lot of us, Kevin, are kind of licking our chops at this, thinking, all right, this could be really good. Two totally different viewpoints on almost every policy, laying it all out there for the entire country to see. And I do think most Americans would watch this debate if they did this.
Oh, the internet loves this story, Tom. On Twitter, the debate is already underway as to who would win and why. I personally think they should make it a pay-per-view event.
Yes.
If Newsom wins, he can use the money to house migrants in California who illegally cross the border. If DeSantis wins, he can use the money to build the wall. My question is, with all the problems facing California, why is Gavin Newsom interested in debating the Florida governor? Is it ego, or is this another indication he wants to be president? Joining us now is Roshini Rajkumar, attorney and multimedia content creator and host of The Crisis Files. Good morning, Roshini. How are you?
Good morning, Kevin. This sounds like a case for The Crisis Files, but what I would say to Governor Newsom is diversionary tactic. That's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I obviously there's a lot going on in California, and he would probably love to change the conversation. When you look at not the idea of the debate, but the issues of the debate, where Gavin Newsom stands on this versus where Ron DeSantis stands on this, you couldn't be any further apart, I don't think.
You're absolutely correct. And what this sounds like is a precursor to some kind of future presidential debate, as we've heard their names in those kinds of circles. It is a little preposterous that you would take any resources, whether it's campaign funding, state funding from both of these states, and put it into some sort of debate like this. Now, that being said, I'd love to see it, but I don't know that this is the appropriate time for it. So it really is politicking, it's grandstanding, but it is a big PR coup. I'm going to give Newsom some credit, and whatever Dan Rather had to do with kind of guiding the way in this whole story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, though, yeah, he's getting enormous media attention, but we're just weeks away from a primary, and the border issue is something Republicans would love to talk about, love to have in the media, have everyone talking about. Democrats have been silent; they've been invisible on the border. Now you have this Democratic governor of California bring this out into the open right before an election. I don't know if it was a very smart move.
No, it wasn't smart. Again, it's grandstanding, it's diversion, and the issues at hand for Newsom in the state of California are so enormous, whether you're talking about climate, immigration, which is such a big one, and so many other things, right? So why Governor Newsom wouldn't put the same kind of energy and tweet into the topics at hand against his own opponents in the state is a little beyond me, and I think we can all see through it.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom, he is one who has said that what Ron DeSantis has done is kidnapping. He said that, flying these 50 migrants to Martha's Vineyard was a crime, and he wants him to be prosecuted for it. If this were to come to a debate floor, how could and how would Newsom back up that statement? Wouldn't he be exposed for what he's not only allowed to happen in his state, but what Joe Biden, the president, the Democratic president of the United States, he's been doing the same thing for about a year and a half, the very same thing. Yeah. How would he back up that statement? In other words, do you think he's really serious about a debate?
Oh, I would hope he's serious if he is going to go to these kind of this sort of huge platform. And now we're all talking about it, from the moment those tweets hit air. So the thing is, if Newsom is going to make those kinds of claims, he better be ready for the mudslinging back from DeSantis. Do I think it's a good idea that DeSantis did what he did? No, I'm not sure that you're going to find a true crime in it. It's definitely strange. unethical. I don't know if it rises to the place of illegal, but again, I'm not an international scholar. I don't know about those particular human rights issues and what are built into various treaties and such. But anytime you accuse someone else of committing a crime, you better have your backing and you better be ready for what their defense is going to be against you.
Do you think that the majority of Americans truly know what's happening at the border, or do you think that really the lack of media and news coverage of this for the past year and a half, that people are suddenly now thinking, oh, there is a crisis, and it's because of what these Republican governors have done?
That is such a great question, Tom, and I really wish the national media would do series on this, because it has been a crisis, the immigration issue, for multiple administrations. Not the current one, not just the past one, but multiple administrations. So until the national media really dives in and challenges our federal and state lawmakers on the true issues, most Americans will live in oblivion or just ignore, because that's what their politicians want them to do. This is such a serious crisis.
Well, I'm thinking about the issue of weaponizing law enforcement, and really everybody kind of woke up when Donald Trump's home was raided, and people started saying, wait a minute, is the DOJ being weaponized here? There's talk about trying to charge DeSantis and Abbott with human trafficking. Do you think that would be a smart move to pursue that by Democrats, or do you think that might backfire and just have independents saying this is going too far, where every time a Republican politician does something, we're going to try and charge them with a crime?
My gut feeling is it will backfire. It is never a good idea to bring charges against a sitting lawmaker, especially, I'm saying it like that, state level or federal level, because you just open up such a can of worms. There is no way to get around the accusations of this being just another layer of politics. There is no one who can be truly objective, at least that I've seen in the last couple departments of justice. So weaponizing the DOJ is a really, really bad rabbit hole to go down, to start going down, and continue to stay in. It's bad for the people who do it. It's bad for the American people.
What do you think the American people are landing on this issue when it comes to really the border crisis? Do they see this as anywhere in the top, 5 or top 10 priorities? Do they understand some of the maybe downstream ramifications of open borders, what it means in terms of maybe the drug trade or healthcare costs? Is this on most Americans' radar?
No, Tom, I think it depends on where you live and what socioeconomic class you're in. So, you guys are up in Michigan. I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Is the border crisis a daily issue for me and a lot of my circles? No. If you're in a southern border state, or if you're in a class of jobs that are competing against possible illegal immigrants that are coming in and getting those jobs, if you're someone who hires illegal immigrants to work at your home, to work in your businesses, the answer to those questions, those answers, are going to determine how involved or how much any one American cares about this issue. The sad thing is, it is such a crisis that has been neglected for so long. We really all should care about it, because ultimately, if it affects all of us, it strains government resources, it puts families against each other, pits neighbors against neighbors, state against state. So until our federal and state lawmakers decide they're going to put it number one, I don't know that any of us can expect Americans to put the issue as number one.
Yeah, maybe that's what the governors are trying to do, to say, hey, this affects everybody here, so we're going to ship them to your neighborhood. Who knows? Roshini Rajkumar, attorney, and, of course, the host of the Crisis Files, the podcast. Roshini, great to talk with you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too. 760 WJR.